Hi, this is YVON, PREHN, and I'd like to welcome you to a case study on how to create a Halloween trunk or treat flyer. I'm going to show you how to go from ineffective to successful. Okay, let's get started. Okay, here's what was done on this particular situation. The flyer was created to get volunteers to help at trunk or treat. It was placed in the bulletin for 2 weeks. Almost all the volunteers that actually helped with the event were ones that had volunteered previous years. Now, the event went off okay, but it was not as successful as it could have been. Very few people showed up to the church on a continuing basis. Almost no new members were involved. And though it wasn't a total failure, people at the church office were sitting around saying, "What did we do wrong? Why didn't more people help? Why weren't more people involved?" And that's part of what I would like to answer for you. Now, what was the problem? Well, it all boils down to what I call church bubble syndrome. And that's where we say, oh, everybody knows, or we've always done it that way. And you see, even though that seems sort of funny, this sort of approach of thinking that everybody knows or doing it the same way we've always done it is really deadly for this or any other form of church communication. Let me tell you what we're going to be doing to help you solve this problem. Our case study procedure is I'm going to show you what went wrong, show you the problems, then I'm going to suggest a solution. And I want you, though, to be very aware of, to please note this, that the primary issue with this case study is information. That's where the real problem was in this piece, and that's where it usually is in many church publications. This is not necessarily a design redo. I do that in some other things and in some other case studies that I have planned, but this one deals more with information. Communication value is always measured in response. That's the number one thing. How many people showed up to the event? So often in churches, we don't get the number of people we would like, and that's almost always a communication issue. People don't say, "Oh, I didn't like the clip art, so I'm not coming." That's not what they say. But if they don't understand what's really going on, that can be a problem. So let's look at this in more detail. Everybody knows. Number one, does everybody even know what trunk or treat is? You know, this is really a fairly new way of observing Halloween. A lot of churches don't even do it. Some have just started doing it. So you really need to clearly define it. This is how you decorate your car. Maybe showing some pictures from past years. These are some I got off the web that I thought were just hysterical. I love this one, the hippie one with the flower children and all of that, the peace signs, and then you have the sports van and you have the outdoor ski scene. Just whatever people are interested in, that can work, but you need to explain what is trunk or treat. Not everybody knows. Another everybody knows in this situation has to do with a fall festival for the whole family. What does that mean exactly? What is the church going to do? They mentioned cooking, but is it for the whole family or not? Is it for just the people that are guests or for the helpers? You see, one of the things, let me say this right now, that whenever you create any publication, you have to realize how many people are looking at it. It isn't just the old timers at the church. Visitors, newcomers, people that have been coming just for a few weeks, all of these different groups will be looking at your publication and making decisions based on it. So we have to explain these things. Also, what ages is the event for? It says the whole family, but are you really going to have something for my teenage kids? Or is it just for little kids? Are we supposed to wear costumes? Are they allowed? Or are they encouraged? Are we supposed to wear costumes? And if we don't have one, will we feel out of place? Is there a cost? You say it's a fall festival for everyone, but does it cost or not? We don't really know from this brochure. Another thing they were assuming everybody knows, what does it mean I can help with the following areas? Exactly what do you want me to do? Do I have to provide the goodies if I decorate my car? How much time will it take? When do I show up? How long is my commitment for cleanup and things like that for cooking? And by the way, with cooking, do I cook it there or do I cook it at home? We have no idea here. What ages can serve? If you don't have something going on for my teenage kids, can they help out? And what is crowd control exactly? Are there going to be rowdy people there? And do I have to be a bouncer? You know, what does that mean? And are there just any friendly hosting jobs, just sort of welcoming people, stuff like that? What is it that you really want me to do? Is this list everything, or are there other tasks? We don't know. Well, another thing, in addition to not explaining it, is you'll hear people say, but we've always done it that way. And a key one right here, there's no place for email contact. Now, most people today, either on their cell phone or on their computer or whatever, they actually prefer being contacted via email. But there's not even a place on here for it. And also, there's no contact person for you to call if you have questions. Maybe you want to take this home. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you need to check with your spouse. Maybe you need to check on childcare. We don't even have any idea who we can ask additional questions or whatever. Now, this was actually inspired by several flyers from different churches, and I went online to see if maybe what they didn't have on the flyer, maybe it was on the website, but it wasn't. On none of the churches that I looked on their website did they even talk about trunk or treat. Now, this is really critical because this area right where the little arrow is pointing, you see this is usually the area on advertisements, brochures, so many things today where you see an email address. People are used to looking for that. They immediately go to the web for more information. And if you don't have it, very confusing. Now, one of the things that really didn't matter, I've talked about what did, is how it looks. It's a cute little brochure. It's attractive. It tells you what's going on and all that. But looks are not so much a matter of deciding whether people are coming or not, because they're really a result of whatever software you're using. This happened to be created in Microsoft Publisher, very easy to create in that. But also, how something looks is often really about your culture, your location, the expectations of the church, and how you reproduce it. Do you do it in black and white? Do you do it in color? All those sorts of things. In many ways, those things don't matter. I've seen really, really fancy flyers and brochures accomplish nothing. Very simple designed ones accomplish everything. It's always your content that's primary. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. Now, instead of a flyer, you really need a bit more room for information. A brochure can work out much better. And we'll be going through all of it. But the thing, in just a few minutes, but the thing that I really like about a brochure is I find personally when I'm organizing a brochure for a ministry that it kind of helps me organize my thoughts. I get it all in the brochure, then I have a solid, complete piece of information to give people. But you can take that exact same information and then put it on your website, summarize it in a flyer, all those sorts of different things, and that works really well. The brochure that I'm going to be showing you was created in Microsoft Publisher. It's on this CD. You can just open it up and look at it in more detail, use it as a template, whatever you would like. The clip art is all just downloaded from the Microsoft site, so there's no copyright issues. It's just the stuff that's freely available. So this is one side of the brochure, and this is the other side. Now, I'm going to go into each part and tell you why it was created the way it was, and you can see how this has all of the complete information that wasn't on the flyer. But before we do that, I want to point out something that will help you on all of the brochures that you create, and that is you must always keep in mind reading order of the panels. This is sometimes difficult to do, especially when you're new at creating brochures, because on the computer screen, we just see one page at a time. And notice the numbers up at the top of the brochures. The first panel that we always look at, panel number 1, that of course is the outside of the brochure. And then most often the one that we look at is panel number 2. That's the first thing we see. Then we open it up. Then we usually have a response, and then the backside, panel number 5, is either additional information or the mailing panel. Now, let's look at how this influences what we create on each panel. Panel number 1, the first thing that people see. Now, this one, on this panel, you want to give them a reason to open it. don't waste the space. A lot of times people will just put a fancy illustration or something like that, but it's a good place to actually summarize what you're going to be doing. I'm not going to take time to read through it all. You've got this on the disc. You have a printout of it on the CD, but summarize what you're doing. I'll just read parts of it. We'll be providing an alternative free Halloween, exactly what the parking lot will be like. We'll be hosting the free hot dog, hamburger, bean, slaw, etc. supper. We'll have music. We'll be getting to know people, and then see inside for how you can help. You see, this is a brochure to recruit volunteers. Now, one last thing, you always want to be sure your header is in a place maybe higher or whatever if you're going to be putting it in a brochure rack. So keep that in mind also. But make the most of this space. You're wanting to give people information. Okay, panel number 2. Now, this is very important because this, as people open it up, this is the first thing they see. A lot of times, this is the back side of the piece that you turn in. So people a lot of times do goofy stuff like put the mailing address on it or, whatever. And that's a real waste of space. It's a much better area for motivation. And also, motivation is good. You want to get people reading it, but after they've filled out the responses, they don't need it anymore. This is a throwaway. Please remember not to put on this panel any information you want them to keep. For example, and we've all done this, I know I've done it a number of times, where I might put the map to get there, the location, time, or essential information on this. Then on the flip side, when they fill out the form and send it in, that goes with it. So please don't do that. Don't make that mistake. So putting your motivation there. Then when you open up to panel number 3, this is where you have your key content. Now, if you want to, you can treat this area as all one page. You can put it in columns. It really doesn't matter, whatever you like to do. I thought for this particular one, it looked kind of nice just having the whole thing spread out. Now, you can also, from this, have even more information on your website. But you see how these sections explain in detail what you want people to do, where the flyer just mentioned the areas, but this actually lets people know we want you to decorate your trunk. We need 30 to 40 cars. This is what you do. Here are some places you can go to for more ideas. This is what we're doing on the cooking. This is exactly what we need for the setup and cleanup. This is what we need our greeters and hosts to do. You see, it's very important to explain these things to people up front. One reason why so many people don't volunteer for things today is they don't really know what you want them to do, and they're hesitant to ask. In the past, people would respond just because a church leader asked them to, but people do not respect church leadership the way they did in the past. And so you have to explain things to people more. You have to make it clear to people, and that will give you a much, much better response. Then you also want to have your contact information if people need more. You want to have a real person, you want to have an email, you want to have your website. All of those things are very, very important. Now then, after you've given them all that great information, let them know what to do, give them a way to respond. Don't just end with something vague like, oh, we really want you to help. Nope. Actually tell them what you want them to do. Usually we have a specific response form. Clarify the response. We need you to help with this, 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 or this. Also, be sure to test that there's enough space to write on. Test the surface, test the space that's there. And then, before you finish, be sure you check the backside that there's no essential information on that panel that they would be giving away. Then tell them exactly what you want them to do. For example, on this one, tear off, drop into the offering plate, turn into the Welcome Center or the church office anytime before October 15th. Thanks so much. And then finally, we have our panel number 5, which is the middle of the back side. Now, this is where you would put the mailing label if you're mailing it out. Oftentimes in the church, you're just giving them out to people. It's a least read panel, and so give people a good reason to look at it. Here, we're actually using it as a prayer reminder. Write down the names of people that your neighbors and friends that you want to invite to trunk or treat. And then also, as a last little reminder, we need lots of candy. So a reminder for them to drop it off. Whenever they see their prayer thing, they'll see that they need to bring candy, and hopefully they'll both pray and bring lots of candy. Now, once you've done that, it's very important that you track your results. A lot of times after an event, a few months go by and we might think, oh, it didn't really go as well as I wanted it to. But how can you make it better? Track it. How many times did you send it out? Did you put it in the bulletin? Did you put it up on the screen with the announcements? Where did you put it? Did you put it on your website? Did you summarize it in a flyer? Then, after you record how you advertised it, how many people actually volunteered? Do you remember how many you had last year? Chances are you may not have written it down. What was the response of the guests? You might even have a few people sort of going around and just sort of making notes on, do people feel welcome? Do they feel rushed? Are there people just standing around not knowing what to do and wondering where to go? Record as much as you can, and then write it down and file it away for next year. Next year comes around so quickly, and sometimes it's hard to remember, well, what did we do that was good and what wasn't? And you'll forget it very, very quickly. So even the day after the event, as soon as possible, record it all, and your events then will just become more and more and more successful as the years go by. And after all the hard work, take a few moments and think about this. Remember, you gave your people an opportunity to serve. Jesus says great rewards are promised to people that serve him, who give a cup of cold water, who welcome a stranger, and you provided the opportunity for your people to get involved. You see all that hard work explaining and going into detail. You are helping your people win eternal rewards. That's a very significant thing. You shared your church and Jesus with your community. People that maybe would be scared to death to come to a church on Sunday will come to an event like this, and because you took the time to get lots of volunteers, they'll feel welcomed, they'll feel excited, they'll want to come back. And eternal destinies will change because of it. Sometimes when you're working hard on meeting deadlines, it's easy to forget that, but people will spend eternity with Jesus because of the work you do. Now, with all those things in mind, be thankful for the opportunity. Be thankful for all of the work that you did, and do celebrate it with great joy. And remember, if you need more training in other church communication areas, on my website, effectivechurchcom.com, I've got lots more for you. May the Lord greatly bless you this Halloween and all during the year as you serve Him in your communications.